And so we begin again by setting our motivation to do whatever we possibly can to attain the peerless state of enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings, knowing that to attain such a state I must perfect all the trainings on the bodhisattva path. And to perfect those trainings in turn I must have a good understanding of what they are about, and I must gain this understanding from an unmistaken source and unmistaken texts and so on. And so it is with this in mind that I come to listen to a brief explanation on the outlines of the great treatise of the stages of the path to enlightenment as composed by the great Lam Rim this morning. Thì có sự sốc trăng kia thằng cứ kêu thằng đó cái thì ni là thế ni suggested rằng
니와 제타 가서 우마발에 난세기 우마란 주바다 탄주바 니요 버와다 탄주바다 탄주바 니체 다들 내용도 그래서 배타이야 바모 이게 소 란주바다 탄주바 니체 다들 니바디 데니 수익제소 장면 다주라 개발해서 대다 파바 yap세제에서 제소 저로 우바바 친구 대다라 탄주바 그래서 테란제 루문자와 니주나냐 대다 간제제소 장면나 냠나 그래서 뭐 탄주별로 제소 장와 이노어제.
And so the first outline that we look at is following that page 378, the outlines which system to follow so as to develop the view in your mind stream, and just underneath that then that how to use the procedure to generate the right philosophical view within your mind stream. So here we're looking at those two systems that are referred to, and they are of course the autonomous middle way view and the consequentialist middle way view. And so it's here saying that the great Mahayanists have established these two middle way views following on from the outlines and the texts of the great Nagarjuna and Aryadeva. So the question is, which of these two follow, the autonomous middle way view or the consequentialist middle way view? And so it's here saying that the following presentation is coming from the point of view of the consequentialist middle way viewpoint. In che di anni cosa di cosa come lo giusto di cosa di un mappa se te gela della cosa tengo io va tang rang io della
shungchimi umapas
jongwarwa
shungchimi uma ayate wanila shungchimi umapas come lo giusto ayate wanila kundu sa tawzwa
yes
kundu shungchimi umapas ani da de inde da come lo giusto che caso da shung zawa shela da jeba 다다디 로베 산지 장게 아니 탄주 고여잖아 다 제가 자도 뭐다 탄주 잠게 아니 요거 말에 수수 참고가 탄주 잠게는 저저 복도 말했어. 당시 좀 대한 법도 말했어. 다 what can't teach any castle to letting a cup of Yorba, no letting chick. That letting chick cup of Javatilla, and Casada daughter begin, water, and because of the late Charangi, and tea, and that to combat to commit tower. Because of the that would combat Tati, Regimendu, Sandy Town, so at the Tatari take yours. That is Ribelam and Del Pavone, Del Pavaneta, Tangible shoot to Yorba, Tangible shoot so that tell shoot to Tantiwa. Rota Diniga, Lovin Diniga, Conto Sadi, Shochibu Umavata, Pavalata, that the Combrunilla to Yore.
And so then,
Shochibu Umavata and Schwarzenegger Umava, Schwarzenegger, Randibe Schwarzenegger, Tangible Schwarzenegger.
and so yes, just kind of a recapping really. That's in terms when we discuss or mention Arya Nagarjuna and Arya Deva, his main disciple. These texts are known as the source material of the Madhyamika or middle way view, and so these are also the primary sources, and then it's what came after that. In terms of the debates from Buddha Palita, Bhavaviveka, Chandakirti, and so on. These have developed, and from those kind of like texts and debates arose these autonomous middle way view and the consequentialist middle way view. And these in terms are then are the kind of supplementary middle way texts. And so as you was related last week when the root of wisdom, particularly the root of wisdom composition by Arya Nagarjuna, was analysed by Buddha Palita. He resolved that the view that would be ascertained by using the consequentialist method, and that this was really the beginning of what was known as the consequentialist middle way view. Thereafter, his own composition was criticized by Bhavaviveka, who said that this was an incorrect interpretation and so on. Thereafter, the Arya Chandakirti, Master Chandakirti, in his compositions examined both and came down on the side of Buddha Palita and said, actually, Bhavaviveka, you were incorrect. Your method for determining the correct view is incorrect, and actually Buddha Palita, his position was correct all along. And so in that way then, we have the schools of autonomous middle way and consequentialist middle way views arose.
That the name was Komuludu and Umabeshi de Switcher. And that the Ledenche, because of the Ledenche and the Ranjubation de Switch Chatter, and that the Pandi Tawata Body and the Tanjubation de Switcher.
And so that when it's boiled down, it's said that Arya Nagarjuna is the great disseminator of the middle way view, that Bhavaviveka is the great disseminator of the autonomous middle way view, and that Chandakirti is credited as the great disseminator of the consequentialist middle way view. And so, based on then accepting this consequentialist middle way viewpoint, that the intrinsic or essential existence of conventional phenomena is refuted, and through this yet in refuting this, that all that is presented, like within cyclic existence, and indeed the path to beyond cyclic existence to liberation, needs to be compatible with that refutation. And so it's this sense of the on the one hand, how one posits the lack of ultimate existence and how one establishes conventional existence. These both we must find conviction in.
지수 소소는 다도 투베 공부도 ramche nejo ramche rejo meba 지저 덴데 밀로도 예제 것을 대시 자에 잡아 줘버렸어. 다가제 저기 남동니데 직직도 좋았으네. 나와 이번에서 남동니데 나와 동배 나와 예네. 아니 직직도 좋아서 차 예번 이베데 누구면 나와 예번 인스 오면 나왔다. 라트 봐서 지금 디바도 직샤도도 직샤마도 왜나 동바 샤도도 나와 샤마도 같이 나와 샤도도 동바 샤마도 같이 청어도 아니 거기 오면 나와 예번 예두고도 와. 다 나도니데 나와라 때는 동바 예두 동바라 때는 나와 예두야지. 어디에 지금 딱 어디 고도 와 어디에 지금.
So again, and then it's quoting from the three principal paths that in that verse discussing that that one must see appearance as emptiness, emptiness as appearance, and that sort of these are undifferentiated really. That if one is able to place one's mind just on appearance, but then not see that how emptiness is completely implied in that. And likewise, if one is focusing on emptiness but not seeing how appearance is also validated by that, then one has not yet found the correct view.
Today is 지다 동백이 와서도 동백이 아니 가서도 다 와서로 동백이 요다세 아니 나웨기 가서도 다 나웨기 메다세 대중도 와가서다 대중도 왔다가 이제 지금 다들도 거기서 나웨 뭐로 나와 인자 나웨기 동반게 돼요 동백이 나왕게 돼야지 예투예치 왔다 간자 어디랬잖아 어디를 수고도 어디랬자 다이나 다 개치주된 거저 가서 쉬원에 진짜 각자니 개치 먼저 난 각자들래 각자 잡치중 각자 잡치와 잡충아 어디에 개발 연구도 와 다자 각자 잡치중 다지 거서대 딱다지게 아니 네번이 고야지 가자 잡치다수나 야 체달로 했는 같이 가제 찹 충수나 야 딱달로 했는 같이 영어 되기도 와.
So here saying that when we focus on appearance, then we gain conviction in emptiness. When we focus on emptiness, we gain conviction in the worlds of appearance. And so it's like this, that these are really codependencies really. And that like in terms of what we spoke about in previous weeks, about the importance of recognizing correctly the object of negation and how much time must go into that in order to avoid a too restrictive identification of the object of negation. which would lead to the cultivation of a view which was biased towards reification, the fault of reification, the extreme of reification, and also to avoid the identification of a too pervasive object of negation, which would lead to the extreme of nihilism. And so it's a very, very absolutely crucial, really, at the outset, is to really correctly identify the object of negation. And so then also that within appearance and intrinsic existence, what is it that needs to be refuted? That here, if we take the appearance and refute the appearance, that would be a mistake. That what we are concerned with here is the attitude of clinging, the mental clinging to a mistaken viewpoint, and it's this clinging that needs to be refuted. And so there's this kind of sometimes this confusion or mistake between appearance and the clinging leads to the misidentification of the object of negation. So when we look to the object that needs to be refuted, we need to examine carefully the process of clinging. How does this clinging manifest? This mental apprehension of an object. How does that manifest? And so that, for example, take self or I, like when I had the notion or this concept of I arises, in what way does the consciousness apprehend or cling to that notion? So, like, the idea, notion of my body, my mind, a self that doesn't necessarily depend on body and mind, but is that which is like has an autonomous, independent mode of existence. So how does that feel? How that sense of apprehension or clinging to that notion, how does that manifest or feel? So that the appearance of an I or self is not that which needs to be refuted, but the way in which one apprehends the self, this self as if it was independent, as if it was this autonomous entity, singular and so on. That is what needs to be refuted. And so it's through not refuting that sense of self that all of our attachment and aversion arises, and on the basis of that then consequently this myriad of sufferings arise for us. So that So that on the one hand we have this sense of a me or a self or an I that is like the owner of body and mind, or like the primary agent, the enabler of body and mind, the appropriator of body and mind. And so this is the problem with this, is that we grasp as existing something which actually does not exist at all. And then if we ask them, so that does that mean that there's no me, no self at all? No, there is not no self at all. There is, but it is, something that we can, and it's something that we can affirm without any analysis. That we, through our own experience, we say, I experience suffering, I want happiness. And so it's through having an idea of this that we then can validly start to analyze then, okay, what then is the nature of self or I?
다가네 신가 다치다 나외기 여다세 동백의 메다세가 요때 얘네 탄주베 숑라마 제세 장원도 가서다 제세 장원도 나외 여다세 자기도 동백 메다세스 자기도 지다 나외 여다세가 요 그래서 나외 셀 메바스에 저와 다 되는서 나외 메다세 나와 이면서 메다세 동배 여다세와 저와 이나야 탄주베 숑라 제세 장원도 나외 여다세 동배 메다세스라고
맞아.
야, 다 제세 장원도 나외 여다세스 나외 여베타세 그래스 아니 가서데 동배 메베타세 그래스 송부도 타세 메바타세 그래스 그러와 그래서 문에 전화다 용다 제와이나 나와 이바인자 메타세 그래스로와 메타세 요다 이나 탄주베 숑라 레고도 나와 메타세스 자기면 도와단다데 베나 차자와이나 뭐저 단다데 제르부 제그 람존남소 따블 차자와이나 나와 메타세스 자고 나와 메타세스 동반이 동배 메타세스 그것도 나와 메타세스 동반이 있으니까 나와에게 메타세스 나와 이바인자 아니 유베타세 그래스 동바 이바인자 매베 타세그레스 탄주베 찍디 베주 땅그레 내가 뒤투모 많이 베주 땅다지래요 이내 돈다디 나와 임바 인자 나와 임바 인자 와서 동바리에스와 동바 임바 인자 나와스 연구도와 인거다 디제와이나 또세 년가 차요스 그래서 내가 차 가르스나 근데 나외기 와서 걸다 와서 걸로 메타세스 라바이나 어떤 여달을 후에 딱달을 후에 내가 지어렸어 딱달 후에 내가 지어렸어 아니 세부 찾았어요 세부 참았어
대 니바디르와 대 나와 요바탕 넘버 메바세 대 네기디
나 단다 람조가 찍기랑 예설베 람조가 찍되나로라 나외게 여다세스라그래 나와 이마자 여다세스 동바 이마이자 메타세스 다디가 딜라디 찍들 누가 캐바체 요르슬라브레 누가 캐바체 가리 요르슬라바 이마이나 가리 요르슬라바이나 딜라 찍레레라 딱제가 탄니가 제가 누가 요레스 딱제가 탄니가 델라도 또 누가 요레스 다 남주 용다 제바이나 나외기 메타세스 라드 그래서 나외기 메타세스 라드 지다 돈다 된거 요때 딱 똑같이 년까지 가려서 딱달을 후에 년가 또서 요레스 딱딱 채다스라 그러와
아서
루와 딱달을 후에 루와 그래서 동배 메타세스 라운드 동배 우선
동과 요바체
딱 찍도 주로치도 찍도 인데 찍도 자단 줘 봐.
네
찍도 자단 줘 봐. 그래서 남도 그 찍시다 제도 동배 메타세스 메타세 나외 요타세스 얘디가 전술라 찍은 누가 된다 줘 봐. 뒤도 하고나 줬어. 레라보제 게르시나다 동바 임바인장 아니 가서데 동배 오서 메다세 로아 동배 메다세 아니 가서데 가서
나와
나외게 요다세스 자로 딱 앉아 저 가서데 고아 캐바제 또에게 디 탄주베 투마이베 찍베주 당다제 또 권역을 줘. 권역을 줘야 딜라 때는 찍레레라 때는 딱지가 탄니가 돼 누가 유스. 디면은 동배 안 가서 딱 가자 좀 동배 여다세스 라바이나 여다셀라나 체달로 후에 내가 또 요레스. 디 말하자 동배 메타세스 라바이나 아니 딱딱해 체다 니가라 말로에게 딱제가 다 델라도 또 누가 요랬을 때 믹스에 던지면 캐주시러 와 중천부터 다 충중지게 캐바시우쇼 다 충중지게 찍 헛되나 다보다고 여기 되지 다보다고 여기 되지 꼭 시부지잖아 충중지게 대한 보고야 당한테 돌다 캐바시 충부쇼쇼 되지
and so that again from the three principal paths Lama Tsongkhapa points out this kind of unique reasoning pertaining to the consequentialist middle way view when he talks about initially through appearance the extreme of existence is avoided and through emptiness the extreme of non-existence is avoided. But again, let's pointing out that in each of those phrases, one can position them to avoid, in fact, both extremes: the extreme of reification, the extreme of nihilism, and that this is in the kind of a unique feature of the consequentialist viewpoint, of being able to use, like, in very few words that kind of like initially can be confusing, but through how do you say, sustaining one's analytical focus on them, can see the tremendous significance within such a very brief kind of presentation. And so, and that for example, if we take the other position, through appearance, through, say, if we take emptiness, we say because of emptiness, then kind of the extreme of non-existence is eradicated, and that through appearance, the extreme of reification or existence is eradicated. That also holds in terms of the logic. And so it's understanding through both the true understanding of appearance and emptiness, then that one can avoid falling into either and both of the extremes. And therefore, that's what the middle way is about. And so that so it's kind of in the text, because of the Lam Rim, in the actual text, it refers to as appearance eradicating the extreme of existence. But when you examine, when you think on or ponder on appearance, it has this kind of natural feeling of eradicating the extreme of non-existence, isn't it? The nihilistic sort of thing. But in putting it this way, it's actually stretching you to say, okay, you can see it from both sides, and you can see that it actually helps to eradicate both extremes. And likewise with emptiness.
Now Yoda says, don't be meta says. Now Yoda says, what the go on do, and meta they said to a go to it. And meta says go to it, what don't be meta says loud, and because Yoda said they go to it. That is a teaching the new child use good what you got to it new use.
And so that saying that the kind of words indeed have tremendous like power, tremendous potential, that like through one's ascertaining, yes, through appearance, we validate, we eradicate the extreme of existence, and from that one can reach the conclusion that likewise through appearance I can eradicate the extreme of non-existence or nihilism, and through the examination of meditation on emptiness, one eradicates the extreme of non-existence, and through that, going through that logic, one can reach also the conclusion that emptiness has likewise the capacity to eradicate the extreme of existence.
That now Yoda says, now meta says lava ina, Chidan now meta say Yoda, now meta says lava ina, ya Tactala way, Nika Tos Yonti.
So that because if we stop, say, halfway through the reasoning process and like look at, for example, appearance eradicating the extreme of non-existence. Now, if we stop there is still the danger that one might fall into the extreme of permanence or reification.
And
so true existence and so on. So there's more.
나왜 여다세 동배 메다스로도 레레는 니가 타니가세 누가 요소고도와 다들 가서 이 케베 조다 집에서 케바 쪽에 데라데나 상도당에 좀 열어봐 데려와다.
And so here then it's saying that one really it's not just a kind of like a nice elaboration, as it were, but an essential kind of a succinct pair of points that we must determine, we must ascertain, and that it points to the kind of like the way in which those who have become very familiar and extremely erudite, like the scholars and those with expertise, through their kind of reasoning process in order to sustain that middle way view, to avoid in any way moving towards or onto the extremes.
롤 진단게 근데스 증기도 어디 뭐트베 토네 아니 뭐트베 토네 오다 진단데 근데스 증기도 안 짐바네시 두 모두 제바 제지와 그봐 짐바네시 두 모두 진단데 근데스 증기도 안 짐바네시 두 모두 제죠 지단 코라 유어마 유기지 시기 요마르와 다 유거데 좀 빼나 나타고 집에다 나티 지단 유어마 유기지 시바 나티 진단데 근데스 증기도 And the Zimmer is two motor Cheva.
And then looking at the over-restricted object of negation, and without talking about different tenet views or anything, but actually how it appears to the mind, and then how we apprehend that which appears to the mind, like how we comprehend, how we apprehend, how we grasp onto that appearance. And so the question is, how do I apprehend this? How am I ascertaining this? And this is the what needs to be looked at. So, for example, when it comes to self, we see. So, how is it that I ascertain, apprehend, hold this concept of self, and then when it comes to meditating on that or analyzing that, and that is what we search for. This how this process by which we apprehend this sense of self. How is it that I apprehend this sense of self? So like the question is then, does a self exist or not in the way that I apprehend it to exist? And so it's not does the person exist or not. That's not the object of our analysis, but our reasoned analysis is examining whether self exists in the way that I apprehend it to exist or not. Because the suffering that we experience is not dependent on whether we are a person or not. It is dependent upon the way in which we apprehend this entity, self-entity. And so that because the way in which we apprehend this self is at odds with reality, And so it's this incongruency that causes the issues.
So
Is that clear? Clearer? So maybe you've understood the middle way view a little bit.
제일 먼저 소리냐 제일 먼저 줘야 저는 진짜 어찌 요데 지금 그나 얘기를 해야 돼. 오면 따와도 또 유스. 이런 원래 잠도 또 빠지고 또 잠도 또 빠지죠. 오면 따와 또 유스. 뭐 그나 얘기실 해서 리트코 어디 봐 되게 김해지게. 나 또 봐서 진짜 미 또서 하고 근데 얘는 직당 가서래. 또 왔다 오면게 저 고아도 사고 해줘라. 뒤에서 티부터 저 좋아도 해줘라. 뒤에 고지도. 뒤에서 선서 또 설로 차트 또서 예반이에 쪽으로 왔다. 들이 용 쪽으로 와야 미. 이제 삼보다 티분에 고지도. 티부터 조사면도 삼사지. 오면 또 와도 되니까 배로 가로.
So again, I was recalling some years ago now, and in teaching in Lithgow, just beyond the Blue Mountains in New South Wales, and that someone presented a letter asking to take refuge, the vows of refuge, but also just claiming that they had realized emptiness. And so again, I had some certain doubts with regard to this. That it's kind of like sort of like the requisite causes weren't really present there to take any kind of conviction in this. That to speak of maybe having an understanding of the middle way view was possible, or some conviction in the whole notion of emptiness, but to have realized emptiness is quite a big claim.
이네 마비시고 요마네 마비시고 요마데 이네 또 봐도 쓰긴다 하고 뭐서 또 다시 체마도 해서 그렇죠.
So I'm not saying that people were lying or anything, but that maybe understanding the kind of like the difference, or the actual understanding of what understanding versus realization is, maybe something like that.
그러니까 지금 나와다 시바 시나는 근데 신거도 아니 뒤 제전에 아니 유대의 두바 신거도나 뒤가고요. 선조 거서 나와다 시바니데 가서 야채마도 맞제는 근데 가서도 가가 가줘야 전 제다로 있는 것들 연구도 와 뭐 가서 거기 시나는 근데 신거도 아니 유대의 두바 신거도나 아니 유대의 두바 시바니나 유대의 두바 아니 셔마르시 두모도 제바지는 더 많이 받지. 네가 들어온도 거기 라스종 그러다. 와. 뒤에 쳐보지래도 와. 선도 먼저 투다. 저 말아서 오면 따와 저 말아서 비도를 네바지 게 매바 인상. 아니 노래 있는 가지고 봐.
And so this process of appearance, and then what is the apprehension or clinging to that appearance, one must really examine the difference there. One must kind of really tend to differentiate those two, and it's sometimes in the inability to do that through analysis one can fall into the extreme of nihilism. And so when we look, we are examining something that appears to have this sort of objective existence. So we're clearly, when we're talking about object to be negated, this is kind of what we have in our sights, as it were. So this, how is it that I am actually apprehending what appears? And that in this context, the self as something objectively existing out there, essentially or intrinsically existing. So searching for that, then not finding that, and just staying within that notion of not finding is proper examination of the middle way view. So the next heading, as you will see there, how to use that procedure to generate the right philosophical view within your mind stream. And this has 3 subheadings. And the first of this is that how to determine that there is no self in the person. Secondly, how to determine that there is no self-entity in phenomena. And thirdly, through habituation with that view, how then to overcome or abandon obscurations. And that with regard to the first of these, that is how to determine that there is no self in the person, you will see that there are a further 3 other points related to this. And the first is actually determining that the self lacks intrinsic existence. And then on page 379, there is the yes, 3/4 way down that page, teaching that what the self owns is also thereby established as lacking intrinsic existence. And then the third point is how to apply those lines of reasoning to other phenomena. And then with regard to that first one again, how to determine that the self lacks, or the actual determination of the lack of intrinsic existence of a self. This again has 2 points. First of all, showing this in relation to giving an example, and then showing what that example illustrates. And so with regard to that first one, again giving the example, and the example is given of a chariot. And here this will be dealt with through 4 different headings, showing that the chariot exists imputedly without intrinsic existence. 2, eliminating objections to that. 3, how to establish the chariot under various names. And 4, the advantage that you find the view quickly by using this example. And so the first of these, showing that the chariot exists imputedly without intrinsic existence. And so here it's saying that in the same way as showing how the chariot is merely imputed in as either one with sorry, it's merely yeah, it's something that is merely imputed, and it is not, does not exist as one with or different from its parts, or in terms of 7 different ways, in fact. And likewise, we can extrapolate that out to the self, and that the self likewise is merely imputed independence upon its aggregates. So it's like in that assertion, we'll take the subject self lacks any true existence. Why? Because it is a dependent origination. Example, chariot.
Luida sem de la madembe nga rangya waji lenge khala cha de ji da rangshu yore bara ju rangshu yore da de la de cha da lo na so ke go yore so ba bana singda la cha cha no ko singda se de ka zu zu sa yo ba chi shen de ge yore shen de da shen ba ne je yo ba yin na ko singde ya la re re de ba ya wa chi de ko ni go de ja ni ge yo ba ba ni ko da ka ze shen ba ne shi me ba chi ya 매매 돼 말이다. 신다스도 신경 배치 당한 이거 좀 고여 봐. 네가 초발할 때는 다 신다스지. 그 신경 야라 때다 초발할 때는 다 신경 배치 용티가 여 봐. 배치 용티가 여. 다 라완의 두배 신다 주여 봐이나 아니 네가 마초발 때는 다 같이 라완의 두배게 도다디 하고 심어이나 라완의 두나 근데 스토크를 했어도 다 야라를 맞대 같이. 라완의 두고 여려.
So here, in looking at the apprehended object and the way in which one apprehends, here the notion that there is a self that is not dependent on body and mind, and exists independently, and even though that is not the case, it is something that we naturally hold to, and on the basis of that, then this kind of whole reign of attachment and aversion continues on as the kind of defining marks of our lives. And so it's like looking at also, but when we look at this in terms of a chariot, because that's sure, there it is, a chariot, there's something I can point to. But actually, when you actually search for any independently or intrinsically existent a chariot, even searching through its parts, we do not find any such chariot that is apprehended in this way. Yet, a chariot is a useful object that one can use, going to the market and so on, and that. But it, if it was established as it's independently or intrinsically existently, it could not function. It could not be of use, because it, as something inherently or intrinsically existent, it follows that it does not depend on its parts. It cannot depend on its parts. It has to be independent. And so you can use, if the idea of a chariot is too archaic for you, take a motor car, take a motorbike, and use the reasoning based on the bike and its parts, etc.
다리시 대바투나 야나 대바투베 찌기 거래 야나 대바투베 타데지 거래 찌다 타데레 셰베 대바투 수치 요 말이야.
And so that in following through the reasoning, if such was truly established, it must be truly established as one with its parts or separate from its parts. And so when one examines that, analyzes that, one does not find it to exist like that. Therefore, one concludes that it does not exist, truly exist, or independent.
대바투베 찌기 임바이나 대바투베 찌기 임바이나 페나 신달라 야라마 보여 야라마 보디가 탐제 야라 찌기인 거 그래. 리바트 개주고도 야 대바투베 도마 임바이나 아니 신다마 부샤고 그래. 신다 찌기 신다마 부샤고 그래. 다가 가자 지 대바투베 찌기도 샤투고도 대바투베 도마에 샤투고도 디니 많이 베 대바투 단체 요 말이 지여바 딱 가자.
So if it was truly established as one with its parts, say we take the chariot example again, that the absurd fallacy of therefore it would have to you would have to conclude that there were many chariots. Therefore, right. Yeah, so that then if it was one with its parts, then just as there's one chariot, then there can only be one part. Right? So yeah, so it has to be that it can't be different. It can't be if it's one with, it can't be plural. In other words, so that there can't be various parts making up that chariot because it's one with the chariot. So there can only be either one chariot or one chariot for every part, so many chariots.
steering the wheel the matching is ya tade inani debatu be tade inani and ya motama bushu shao to motor chi yona motama bu yu cha du to ro ta ko 좀 dile kholo la so ba bu yor ba ro ta de za ko an de debatu be chi da debatu ba tade le shebe debatu dan chi yo mar ba da pusu ba chi yo mar ba ta de za ko debatu ba te sha ma tu chi.
And so, like in the terms of a motor car, then it's looking at that if it was truly established as one with its parts, then you would have to have a motor car for every part of the car, and that wouldn't be. We can see that the wheel would have to be something that was one with car, that the steering wheel would be one with car, and so on. And so we can see that this is absurd, and it doesn't not accord with the way we actually see things in reality. This is contrary to common sense even. And so you can see, therefore, that making such statements and trying to establish such a reality is absurd, and so things cannot exist truly established in that way.
Dumai Mayingi, and Debatuta, Shebache, Yomari. Yana Chigi, Yana Dumai, Chiga Tuma Ungarwa, Tuma Mambu, Yana Debatu Chigi, Yana Debatu Chile Mangaingo, Tinili Shebe, Debatuta, Yomari.
So it's not established as one or as many parts, or is that different from that? It's truly established.
Depends on Yomari. Yana Debatu and Debatu Chigi, Yana Debatu Dubai, Dile Shebe, Debatuta, Yomari.
Well, so it's like when it's kind of like the logic says that it's established in that way, either one with or as one or many, there is no third alternative. So it's like when a person is there or not there, but a person is or isn't, but there isn't. There either are or aren't, but there is no alternative. Yeah.
가서 리베 제 주다데 좀 전에 때는 오 산지가 수도스 봐 리베 제 주다데 리베 토네다 바탕데 테레스 바본 거야 봐.
So it's in a way it's like this looking through the prism of reasoning analysis, and this is kind of like this way of discussion. Really, is like that. One is within that realm of reasoned analysis and the ascertainments, conclusions that one arrives at on the basis of that reasoned analysis.
신다 ranjo mobe chuba rashi yona duen misawa chikda tate sohasa namba duen kan rondo rashi ga yume chube rigwe chubgo bale dumbu deda kandu yang jemma chube chi shino che wotere cha ta niwa dela tsoba pongwa dela tsoba pongwa nisa ngomawa da nari sa ta ngomawa da nari rashi yume chube rigwe jige shebe tsudo namba dunju kone shingda tsewa na te mani na shingda mekwe la sa mekwe la deta na jigde na shingde tanya doba nam jameba gyute da shashing mas jameba gyushe na gyume de sa gyume yomare rashi yume tsuwe rigwe tsewa na shingda ten namba dunbu kandu ya mineba ne denpa nichato mebe sa, denpa nichato mebe, de dundu rikwe, de mani be, shingda kyeba kala si. De dana ya shingda kye lemba ne rashi yume chube, rikwe chuba mingi. Rikwe namba cheba de done, jikdenpa de tanyebe sheba. Rangawe neme zangyo chuba ino, osa da tanya zangyo chuba insa. Dena di jokzui ne, rangi yangla namba, tene taba dayo to tuba yino so tene taba da chashe la tene taba da tuba yino che di cose
so so we were looking at then that these we're looking at the process of this chariot that is lacking any intrinsic existence because it is actually imputed. So the thing is, so if you're saying that a chariot was inherently or essentially intrinsically existent, then that would have to be undoubtedly established by reasoned analysis. And this reasoned analysis examining the things was if it was one with or different from its parts, for example, any of the 7 ways in which it was proposed to exist. And so and this and therefore it would have to kind of really be established by this process of reasoned analysis. But it is when it's put to that analysis, it does not withstand that analysis, and it's not seen to be established in any of these 7 ways, and therefore we conclude that it lacks any intrinsic existence. The second of these points is the dispelling or the stopping of objections, disputed points. And the first of these comes from the essentialists. And so their objection is, like, say, when you use this reasoning to examine, to analyze intrinsic existence, and you search for the existence of chariot, for example, in any of the seven ways, and not finding it to exist through your analysis, this then the conclusion that you must come to is that chariot or whatever it is you're examining does not exist at all. It is in non-existence because you don't find it. And so because this therefore is at odds with the conventional designations of chariot that you would find in the world. So this is their objection. And but from the consequentialist point of view, they say there is no fault in what we have said, and that when one searches through reasoned analysis into intrinsic existence, and in terms of a chariot, for example, searching for how it might exist in any of the 7 ways, and not finding it, one is doing this with the understanding that this is the case in terms of both truths, in other words, both conventional and ultimate truths. And so here in refuting what you have just said, how does this refute the chariot? How could it refute the chariot? So here, that the reasoning that analyzes whether things intrinsically exist does not establish the assertion of chariot. This reasoning. There's like this. The reasoning that analyzes whether things intrinsically exist does not establish the assertion of chariot. But if we leave aside a reasoned analysis, then it does establish that chariot has a designated, with a kind of a nominal convention, that it does exist, established by a mere kind of unimpaired, ordinary, conventional, worldly consciousness. And so this then, and how is this explained? And this is saying it is established imputedly as that which is imputed independence on its parts.
타니에도 요발라 그게 되고 요말라 타니에도 요발 만요바 맞아 타니에도 요발 팽기도 와 라신가 마투바 임바 인장 라신가 마투바 임바 인장 어다 여단티 다 타니에도 요저서다 군조가 요저 들리시면 좋다는 뜻이 여러 왔다 와 근데 여단티 아니 그 지금 신대 차세를 때는 좋다지 차세를 때는 좋다지 딱그 라신가 마투바 디 마니바 딜라테네 라신가 두메체도 마니바 딜라테네 다 거기 군조부도 여다들이 잡조치는 것도 군조도 여다들 다 잡조치네 오늘 다 여가지 좀 두고도 그 여가지 뭐이고 다 여다지 좀 두고도
So what is really being pointed out here is that because through reasoned analysis we establish the non-intrinsic existence of chariot, that it actually implies how it does exist, that it does exist in this conventional extent, this sense of here, this mere unimpaired, ordinary, conventional, worldly consciousness. And so, and that that we can see that a chariot arises in dependence upon, is imputed independence upon its parts, for example. And it's not finding through reasoned analysis of any intrinsic existence of chariot actually supports its conventional existence, this way of its conventionally existing in dependence, for example, on its parts.
我们到的别扎起不是多，扎起不是不是多，他这个让给这个牛毛看的家也当，那他把他们这全部准备了，他羡慕我吧真的，羡慕我吧的。其他呢，这个缺跟着进吧呢，缺这个给俺这个说的，俺这个那就俺这个恰层话这个韩国推的，你把你推了，修片头有的了。对么呢？要嘛的是个，或让不让别就他他接拽去，没到我那长那个越大的跟着多，越大的跟着多。俺这过来的呢，早的呢，俺那韩国的呢，俺这个别去马当给说了去呗，让不让别就可是让不离是呗
Roughly.
让不离他就要嘛的，但是那抓定个说了差不多，但不买大话的也不进呢，西北人呢，会越大的跟着说，越大点的什么都越大么多，的越高个多上不上去，俺那个下当这个的大这个来推去，来推去，这是缺他们这个其实态度的。韩国的阶级不水准，第韩国吧也呢，可能工作的越大的，年吧就这些夹头中国。
So this is a kind of another very extremely precious aspect of, the middle way view. Really, when you can see, put aside one for a minute, how one's clarity with regard to the middle way view will help us to oppose the mental afflictions and so on, attain liberation and enlightenment. But when we have an understanding of phenomena in this way, like that, whatever that phenomena is, that that we through our clarity, ever clarifying understanding of the middle way view, we get a kind of a complete understanding of that phenomena. That how does it actually exist? How does it actually not exist? And so going from the rough, taking for granted really very murky understanding that we have of just phenomena, now that when we examine them, when we have that kind of assimilated the middle way view, that we have that far more useful and precise understanding of how they actually exist and how they do not exist. And in this way, that conventional phenomena and conventionality in terms of that understanding will become much more precious and much more useful to us too. That it actually enhances one's life experience, as it were.
Hindu and 제일 남바차네 안 코랑기 시날 가서 상계 좀 되다가 떼봐 쟤네 살이 비주고 떼봐 쟤네 아니 좀더 시다 출루 시행게 좀더 시행게 저 배자다고 되네 같이 로바 있다 상계 좀 되다 대바 숙체도 주고 줬어 뭐 소리대로 딱 뭐 여기 내 주위 통한데 아니 셔바 같이 로한데 아니 상계의 시행도 민다와지 시에투이지 다 그래서 산재가 최고 내주 약보지 10이나 그거 야구 마시면 가스고 말와 약보지 10이나 믹스가 우메다야 거 약보지 10이나 오 아니 산재를 대바시다 미다고 요야지 아니 요대지
So there was in ancient times one Hindu master who entered into a debate with the Buddhists and lost and then became Buddhist. And thereafter he wrote actually quite a famous praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, and in that he states that really no matter how many other tenets or other religious treatises I read, it only serves to increase my faith in Shakyamuni Buddha. And so this is very much kind of related to what we're talking about here, that this ever clarifying understanding of actuality, will really serve to increase our faith and our appreciation of the Buddha, and how really unique he was in establishing this kind of view, and a good understanding of the Buddha Dharma in general, and in particular understanding the Madhyamaka, the middle way viewpoint, is something that will really enhance that faith that we have. And then conversely speaking, if we do not have a good understanding of the middle way view, then we can't claim to have a good understanding of Buddha Dharma. So too, that if we have a good understanding of the middle way view, then it will be possible for us to ascertain the really the true thought of the Buddha.
And 상계 좀 되는데 현대 민자와치. 지단 잡으려고 또 마시 뭐 주어래. 네가 그거 편도 요래. 야구수저 단가를 편도 단다 편도 마오벌 편도 요래. 그러니 감도 몇번 민자와 이번 인상. 편도 주말. 이나 양다 그 단전하는 민자와치. 단전하는 민자와치다 요다도 꿈에 따위 돈을 ሸ고 우도와.
And so that also, we will see how unique the Buddha the Buddha is in fact this particular teaching, and that in view of there being many wonderful teachers that have brought tremendous benefit in the past, are doing so now, and will do so in the future. However, with regard to this particular point and the kind of like the whole area of the middle way view, the Buddha stands unique.
Today was up with Ube Tawa Tembe Shung Tizo, Sangatum de Ketchup Shibuji, Ketchup Shibuzi. Cheshima to the Namna Shakayo Maris. In a Tinama to go Maris, Shibuji.
So it's also, it's said that, that's why, these texts examining the middle way view are so unbelievably indispensable to the Buddha Dharma. In fact, it said one could lose the other teachings, but if these particular teachings were lost, then the Buddha Dharma would be lost.
Yeah, this is get not sometimes I number is a Buddha relax, Sanjay Utter, Sanjay Semler, sketchable, what that is in a shaking a daughter in Bucenti. Oh, that is relax related.
And so that, sometimes, we do take, very much these physical relics that are presented as being, so sacred and so incredibly important, like the Buddha's clothing or the Buddha's teeth and so on, and that, and in so doing, perhaps not consider the teachings of the Buddha as being as precious or as important. I think that's a mistake, and that the true, undisputed relics of the Buddha are the actual teachings of the Buddha.
Whatever time they should Umetawa down, Janju sent me the new to give a show. Then you soon the Java Lamberton, and soon you do Chankuma Toba show, sir, new to Toba show. One of young sales get me, but what did it?
And so we need to really kind of recognize this and really start to, again, consistently, hold the teachings of the Buddha in with great respect, and particularly the Perfection of Wisdom sutras, like so the Heart Sutra, for example, that we know and that we recite, to recite this continuously, reflect again on its meaning very, very carefully, to make aspirational prayers, to gain the understanding that is that eludes us at the moment, and particularly that understanding of the middle way viewpoint, and to kind of make strong aspirational prayers that we will be able to generate that view in our mind stream together with the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta, and to quickly really be able to attain that state of Vajradhara as quickly as possible.
Tawe Jordan shops Shimban and Sheraning movie, so man, time, team as the Kojushtua. Kojushibatua. 맨날 다 소매 다음에 드메스는 고추스케부도.
And so that within the Heart Sutra, no form, no sound, and so on, all those statements there, that without any reflection may not have much meaning for us. But once you analyze and have an understanding of what you're reciting, it can be tremendously significant to recite the Heart Sutra.
뒤주도 담부럽자 손주가는 막 손그래. 냐마 암도니 요레스. 암도찌개 시라니 뭐 뜬거였어라. 암도찌개 시라니 뭐 신거였어 말이야. 시라니 뭐 신거였어 말 뜬거였어 말와. 나 암도찌개 시라니 뭐 되는데 미메 나메 제메스 되는데 왔다 되게 깔래 하고 지금 말은 고멜람나 되게라는 그가 매투르스 고멜.
Again, as a reciter, recalling a story His Holiness often tells in teachings, he refers to two people from Ando who were kind of obviously traveling or lodging together, and one was reciting the Heart Sutra, but the other didn't have any understanding of the Heart Sutra at all. And so, as the first was reciting, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, you might say, hey, don't bother with all this, no eye, just say no head. It's the same thing. So yes, if you didn't have any understanding of the meaning, that would make sense. Shorten it up, Gatan kuchukoni, ani di kosa somebody mingi keba gigone dropat so.
다 공원데 들에 다 가서 나와다 신반이게 야지 딱 먼저 현당의 근데 생도 근데 가야 되는 거 어때? 어때 몇번 부시 잡아졌다죠. 다 손바 명기에서 손바 명기 개발될 거는 주변村에서 초들 지대나 잡을 거냐. 지대 타니 도바 채세워라 주바. 바시도 마세기 대 명기 개발 강다 임바대다 장 넘버 7 매버라. 지대나 잡을 거네. 켈랑버 차오서 지대나 잡을 거 켈랑버 차오. 대야사 신단에 펑로라 소바 야라 다 차셰라 되네 야라 지엔다 차셰 제시베 타니기 돈도 주고서.
So the next outline I don't find it there. It's how, for example, a chariot can be established in terms of various names or labeling or labels. So, looking at this, our position, meaning the prasangika or the consequence position, it clearly establishes the conventional designation of a chariot in terms of what is familiar to the world, and that this is a valid kind of establishment of chariot, and that in terms of also, like, what is more, that it can be asserted that the names or labels or names of chariot related to chariot can be established in terms of what is familiar to the world without going into analysis. And these can be accepted. For example, when we talk about the designating the kind of like the nominal convention of agent with reference to the chariot's activity of appropriating wheels, etc., and the in terms of it being the appropriator in terms of these appropriated parts. So all this functionality is validly established as, and conventionally designated.
다 시바 델라 데네사 타와 뉴도 니베사 페윤네사 주젤레사 가시 지겐지 군조 데다 남바 제바나 요바르사 미규시 마다 그래서 마다와 잡에 요바 데니기치 내조베 리바 데니기 델라 남바 제바나 체뉴와 코너 데코나니기 띵고 오시아수죠.
So the fourth point is based on that, then how one, the advantage of being able to quickly generate the view in one's mind stream. And that it comes from a quote from Master Chandrakirti's composition, an explanation of the Middle Way commentary. And so it's a straight quote which says, these worldly conventionalities do not exist when analyzed in that way, but exist only through being taken for granted, without being subject to scrutiny. Therefore, when yogis analyze these worldly conventionalities through this very process, they will very quickly fathom the depths of reality.
다 니바 되라 자와라 니자 라신 메베 수도라 자와 민기 개발주 권의 주주 되라 자와 오서 더보 라신 메베 수도라 자와라 시다 풍부다 집에 쳐 가봐 다 풍부다 타대에 쳐 가봐 대초 아만 남자 개발주 와라 내가 때는 간사 아사 주마다고 쳐서 주로 오서.
And so the next heading says, showing what then this example of chariot illustrates. And that here, the first point is that it shows, the example illustrates how the person lacks intrinsic existence. And also the example illustrates how the person is established under various names. The first of these, showing that the person illustrates, the example illustrates how the person lacks intrinsic existence, has another 4 points related to it. The first is that the refutation of the position that the self is one with the aggregates. The refutation of the position that the self is different from the aggregates. Thirdly, how those arguments also refute each of the remaining positions. And D, how the person appears like an illusion based on that refutation.
다 풍부다 집에 촉하바네 다 풍부다 집에 촉하바네 다 풍부니 라신 집도 주바이나 너가 지시에 남나서 딱 경카리여서라 내저 숨송돼서 다도 마와 되메와 다도 마와 되메와 다 먹고 좋아 계지제도 좋아 어쩌 숨체.
So the first of these, the refutation of the position that the self is one with the aggregate. So if we were to say that the self was intrinsically one with the aggregates, what would be the problem? And here, I think from Buddha Palita comes 3 different problems with that. The first is saying that if that were proposed, then it would be pointless to propound self, because you're one with the aggregates. It's nothing separate. And also, the other problem would be that there would be many selves. And thirdly, that the self would be subject to production and disintegration.
니와 타데베 초카바니사 다 풍불을 먹어주게 타데바 도나니 풍불 체니기에서 가서 깨지 내바다 밑에 봐주대 빼나 아자 빼나서 따와랑 따와랑에 신도 주발라 따발랑에 신도 주발라 발랑게 체니 다 대바 민바 신호죠
So we leave it there, and we'll deal with that second point next week. So it'll be too confusing.
Yeah, that you know, that you try to shoot, but get you to go to now. That she bought the Yawachi. Some of them need two and it. But now for a cow with the sort. Now for a cow with the sort. What she and the condition to get you to what to it. She and the condition round a Jabachin, Nasa condition. Round a choke condition now I imagine that. Better than the water that come by us or condition. This she and the condition do. And this Yaman is a do. Jabachin. What is Jeb with
So, and like just to recap what I've said many times, it's a crucial issue of being able to differentiate appearance between the way in which that one apprehends, and that here, it's so important to continuously analyze that, like we can do that in relation to self or relation to any other phenomena now, like a motor car or anything. There's one way in which it appears to us, but then how is it that we then actually apprehend that? How do we grasp onto that appearance? And it's this is the crucial question. We need to question. We need to analyze that to get to the bottom of that. So, for example, too, how does the mind apprehend when we are attached to an object? How does the mind apprehend when we have aversion towards an object or when anger arises in us? And so, like in terms of in some of these cases, or in these cases too, to really look into that the mode of how we actually apprehend what appears to us in the mind, and that really to get to when that is kind of like, it can be very sort of like a vibrant a reality that seems to really stand out there independently, objectively in our minds, to really analyze that and to examine that. Does it actually exist in that way?
What are the
and to really kind of examine that question, like really is the way that things are apprehended by my mind, the way my interpretation of reality, in other words, does it actually exist in that way or not?
And then do you do that? You can have you love it, and Rashim Yana, Chevache, Samutan, Young, Samutan, yeah, what is it? Go do you the Nawata Matemachi? Rashim maybe Nawata, neither you tend to a nugget to the Nawata, the Matubarias, and rather Shuchabo, Rashim to one, the dash, dumping your door, hurt the dice, dumping your door, hurt dice. Della Denaranga Chatanga lawyer and shoot the tray you think it. What that does on shame or what I was with Dawson, of course, Shamor, Timo, Samutan was again. What the corner shoot to move Sasaji Vayina, to the classic storage.
And so, and to continuously keep this question to the forefront of our minds, this notion of intrinsic existence, and to kind of meditate on that, to reflect on that as much, to really disbelieve in the notion that things must exist in the way that they appear, and to really furnish their mind with the knowledge that things actually don't exist in the way that they appear, that they don't objectively exist. And so, and to really, this can be employed in many ways to really reduce the adherence to, it's kind of automatic knee-jerk reaction towards objects of attachment and away from objects of aversion, and to kind of like really use it like that. In anger, for example, to really relax the mind somewhat when it is caught up in anger and frustration. Let's leave it there. So we'll do our Lam Rim prayer. From my two collections vast the space that I have amassed from working whatever that this practice for a great length of time, may it become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I behold in your loving compassion for all wise men due tree. May I find the best of complete graded paths of teachings. May I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings. With the points of the path that I have discerned them, may I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal the treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a very long time. Even as the great path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children, may all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives, on the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
Yeah.